month on Patreon, I did a live stream transcription of Mance Lipscomb's Rag in F. Now, every other week on Patreon, I share like a cool tune, a tune I think is cool, and then every month I poll the patrons and we decide which tune I should learn for the live stream. I learn it in front of them in the live stream, and this one was tight. It was between I'll Go With Her and Rag in F. Now, I forgot to mention this in the transcription, but I actually had to break the tie. It was 50-50. And the reason I chose Rag in F, you know, I'd love to learn I'll Go With Her. I'll probably just learn on my own. Rag in F, I think is an important tune to learn because it's good to know how to play in the key of F. It's actually a great key for the folk guitar, and I feel like a lot of folks just skip it or don't even realize like it's actually a key you can check out. And what better way to do it than just to do it live? So the point of these transcriptions is just like to show you my process in learning tunes by ear, share my strategy and 3 steps for learning tricky rags. So number 1, you know, it's just learning the chord progression through a process of tune commonalities and finding root motion. Number 2, building chords on top of it, figuring out the chord quality. And 3, figuring out the best chord shapes, the right chord shapes to fit the style and the song. And again, I do this all live, but if you make it to the end, there's actually one chord. There's one chord I missed. So you don't need to use this chord to play the song. It sounds great without it. But I'll give you that at the end and talk about where to get the tab for this tune and a slow play along. But for now, let's get to this. This is a Rag in F. So, okay, we're going to be checking out something in F. And I just wanted to talk about briefly like why he might be picking this tune in F. Now, Mance Lipscomb, he's kind of known for like this dead thumb style. He's reminiscent of Mississippi John Hurt. I've always kind of thought of him as like a Texas John Hurt, until I got to know his repertoire a little bit better, and he has a lot of styles, and so just something to consider. As soon as you get into new styles, you start to enter new keys. It just depends on I think a lot of things, but a lot of the times the lead instrument of this style. So for the country blues, you know, the lead instrument is obviously the acoustic guitar. And so the keys that fit the acoustic guitar are like G and E and C and D as well. It's kind of our 4 keys. I'm bringing this all up to say that Mance Lipscomb was from Texas. Dallas, Texas is 2 hours north of where he was from. And so it's very likely, I'm going to share this one now. Hold on. I got this. Share. So this is a pretty well-known fiddle tune. Now, that is the same key. It also has almost the same chord progression. It has almost the same chord progression of the F rag, of Rag in F. So, tying all this together, the key of F, it's not random, right? It's actually it's a tune that is a key that was totally in the world of this kind of string band and folk music that was going on. So, let's try to figure out what the heck Rag in F is all about. Now, I could already tell before I tried to learn this tune, the chord progression is the same, and it's a pretty well-known chord progression. Parts of Beaumont Rag has this same chord progression too, and it's a chord progression that's a 5-1. 5-1 means if we're in the key of F, we start 5 notes from F. That would be a C chord. So I already know that my first chord is going to be C. Now, I can tell this recording is a little out of tune already because this chord doesn't quite match, which is something we're going to run into all the time when we're learning country blues stuff because they're not tuning to a tune. That sucks. He's kind of pitched in between F and F sharp. Do we care? I think we'll be okay. So it's just back and forth from C to F. All right. So that's our 4 chord. Ooh, that is a little sour, isn't it? I'm just going to go a little bit sharp. No, I shouldn't, because if you have your guitar at home, you're not a little sharp, right? So I'll decipher from the out-of-tune recording for you. There's this little chromatic run. A chromatic just means fret by fret, right? You've got this 1. Again, I don't know what the chord shape he's doing yet. We got this passing chord to the 5 chord to the 6, and this is cool. The bass motion inside of the 5 chord is 2, 5, 1. There's more nuance in it, right? So it doesn't not right or wrong, right? But it isn't actually a full 2 chord. I think that sounds cool. Okay, let's figure out what these chords are. Okay, he's definitely doing a C7 chord. We'll pick this out a little more, but... And then we've got this something like that, right? And that's just our standard kind of folksy pinky move on the F chord. So you actually have to bar that. A lot of times in the F chord you can just ignore it and just not hit the E string. In this case, it's a part of the melody, so... Here's an interesting thing whenever you're... this is something I have to always figure out what the best thing to do is when I'm working on an old fingerstyle blues tune. Every time he goes through the chord progression, it's different, right? And so... Not the chord progression is the same, but what he does within it. The decision I normally make is like the first time through the tune is my transcription, and then that's kind of the what you have to go on, you know, for the rest of the tune. So I'm gonna back it up, and we're gonna see what he did in that very first turnaround. When I say turnaround, I mean that B flat, put the transition note B to the D. We're gonna see what he did there. I think he's just doing octaves. Yeah. That D is not an octave because he does this. He slides it back to this C7 with the G in the bass. We know it's the G in the bass because we already figured out the bass line a few go-rounds before, right? That's why I like to follow, especially in a rag, I follow the bass stuff first. And then I build my chords on top of it. When there's so many chords, it's unless you have a really quick ear and you can just hear chord progressions, which for me by now I can just kind of hear a chord progression. But back in the day, no way could I just hear that. So I would just follow the bass line, right? Try to build a chord on top of it. Is it major? Is it minor? Just try it, right? And even if it's wrong, maybe you like it better. There's nothing wrong with that, right? Maybe you like it with the G minor to a C instead of the thing he's doing. So we got this. Something like that, okay? So what's sweet is that's the tune. The chord shapes that you're gonna need to know are your F with your thumb. That's the key we're in. You've also got to know C7. You have to know C7 with G in the bass, which if you've been learning the Blind Boy Fuller stuff, that's a chord he's done that we learned from that. And then there's also seemingly a D7 when he walks up to that D7 chord, but it's just the same as the C7, right? When I say seemingly the D7, he doesn't seem to hit all the notes, but it does seem like he's sliding that chord back, or could. The only other chord you got to know is an octave chord, and that one's pretty easy. I missed one chord, and you know how it goes from C7 to F? He actually never plays C7 like this. He always plays it with the G in the bass. And so I missed that right away, but the first note of the song is actually F sharp on the 2nd fret leading to that G. So, whoops, I missed that, but it doesn't matter. You can play it with just C7, but if you want to play it a little more like Mance did, that'd be how to play it. Again, that's available in tab formation over on the Patreon. There's also a slope play along. Now, if you want to check out my last live stream, that's available right here, and that's of Untrue Blues. Either way, we will see you where we see you.